gentlemen, welcome to our monthly meeting of the Cobb County Board of Zoning Appeals. And as is our custom at this time, I'm going to ask Officer Ott to come forward. He represents all the first responders here in Cobb County and all the safety personnel. And he is going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. So we all please rise. Officer Ott will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Officer Ott. Ladies and gentlemen, for those of you that are here for the first time, let me give you a little insight on how we're going to conduct the meeting. The first thing that we will concern ourselves is with the continued and held cases. Mr. Peterson will read these into the record, and as he does, the applicant, he or she, will raise their hand to identify themselves. Likewise, if there's anybody in opposition to these particular cases, if they want to recognize their hand, they raise their hand and they'll be recognized as being in opposition. The next course of business will be a consent agenda. Again, the process will remain the same. Mr. Peterson will read these into the record. Again, the applicant will raise their hand as their name is called. And likewise, if there's anybody here in opposition to any of these cases that are on the consent agenda, if they would identify themselves, we will recognize them as being in opposition. Our officer of the day is Margie Vaziz, and at that time, when you're called up, if you're going to give testimony to this board, Margie will call you up, you'll be sworn in. All testimony will be given to the podium to my right. With that said, I'm going to turn to Mr. Peterson. John, do you have any special announcements or anything to make?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and welcome back. We did miss you.
Oh, thank you, yes.
Mr. Chairman and Board, there is one case on today's printed agenda which has been withdrawn without prejudice and will not be heard today. That's a variance case V47, Michael Waller. That case has been withdrawn without prejudice and will not be heard today. Mr. Chairman and Board, I would like to ask people in today's audience, if you have a cell phone, please turn the volume off on your cell phones. The ringing does interfere to broadcasts and presentations. There are no cases that are slated to be continued today. So with that, Mr. Chairman, I'm ready to start the consent agenda.
All right, let's go right to it, John.
Thank you. Cobb County Board of Zoning Appeals, variance hearing consent agenda for May 15, 2019. Variance case V39, Jonathan D. Williams, requests a variance to allow an accessory structure, which is an existing 3,630 square foot garage on a lot without a principal building, to reduce the setbacks for an accessory structure over 650 square feet for the existing 3,630 square foot garage from required 100 feet to 13 feet adjacent to the northern side property line and to 31 feet to the rear property line, and to allow parking and or maneuvering of vehicles on a non-hardened and treated surface, which is an existing gravel driveway, in land lot 611 of the 17th District. The property is located on the east side of Pebblebrook Circle, south of Buckner Road. Staff recommends approval, subject to the following conditions: no commercial or dwelling use of the building, traffic comments, and development inspection comments. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V39? Let the record show there's no one opposed. Variance case V40, Sheldon L. Budbill requests a variance to reduce the side setback from required 10 feet to 5 feet, which is proposed. Adjacent to the southern property line, reduce the side setback from required 10 feet to 1 foot, which is existing. Adjacent to the northern property line, reduce the side setback for an accessory structure for an existing approximately 190 square foot shed from required 10 feet to 1 foot adjacent to the northern property line. To reduce the rear setback for an accessory structure for an existing approximately 190 square foot shed from required 35 feet to 15 feet. To reduce the rear setback for an accessory structure for an existing approximately 240 square foot garage from required 35 feet to 26 feet. Reduce the side setback for an accessory structure for an existing approximately 240 square foot garage from required 10 feet to 2 feet adjacent to the southern property line. and to reduce the side setback from the accessory structure for an existing approximately 170 square foot pole barn from required 10 feet to 5 feet adjacent to the southern property line. In land lot 193 of the 18th district, the property is located on the east side of Lobelia Road, south of Aram Drive. Staff recommends approval, subject to the following conditions. Stormwater management comments and encroachments as shown on the site plan received by the zoning division on March 11, 2019. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V40? Let the record show there's no one opposed. Variance case V41, Episcopal Church of the Annunciation requests a variance to increase the maximum height of a sign for non-residential uses in residential zones from 8 feet to 15 feet, which is existing, to reduce the side setback from an existing storage building from required 50 feet to 12 feet adjacent to the western property line, and to reduce the landscape screening buffer when abutting any residential property line from required 35 feet to 20 feet adjacent to the northern property line, and the 12 feet adjacent to the western property line, and both those are existing. In land lot 55 of the 16th district, the property is located on the north side of Jamerson Road, west of Jet Road. Staff recommends approval, subject to the following conditions. Traffic comments and encroachments as shown on the site plan received by the zoning division on March 12, 2019. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V41? Let the record show there's no one opposed. Variance case V43, Edward J. Cooney requests a variance to increase the maximum allowable impervious surface from 35% to 50.1%, and to reduce the side setback adjacent to the north property line from 10 feet to 9 feet for an existing awning in land lot 330 of the 16th district. The property is located on the east side of Tarn Court, south of Muir Lane. Staff recommends approval, subject to the following conditions. Stormwater management comments and site plan received March 13th, 2019. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case of V43? Let the record show there's no one opposed. Variance case V44, Remington Atchison requests a variance to allow an accessory structure, which is a dumpster, to be located to the front of the principal building, and to reduce the side setback for an accessory structure, which is the dumpster, from required 10 feet to 7 feet adjacent to the eastern property line in land lot 781 of the 19th district. The property is located on the north side of Mimosa Drive, west of Austell Road. Staff recommends approval. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V44? One person opposed? Mr. Chairman, that has one person opposed, so we'll pull that off the agenda
Okay.
and hear it in its order.
We'll pull V44 and hear it as it comes up in its regular numeric order.
Variance case V45, Christina Van Alstein requests a variance to reduce the rear setback from required 30 feet to 21 feet, and to reduce the setback for an accessory structure under 144 square feet for an existing 69 square foot shed from required 5 feet to 4 feet adjacent to the rear property line in land lot 16 of the 20th district. The property is located at the southern terminus of Ascot Bluff, south of Ascot Run. Staff recommends approval. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V45? Let the record show there's no one opposed. Variance case V46, Brian Brown and Leah Brown request a variance to reduce the side setbacks for lot 11 from required 10 feet to 7 feet adjacent to the southeast property line and to 9 feet adjacent to the northwest property line, which is existing. To reduce the front setback for lot 12 from required 35 feet to 30 feet for the proposed new home construction, and to reduce the setback for a wood deck on lot 11 from 5 feet to 1 foot, which is existing, in land lot 1044, the 16th district. The property is located on the east side of Butler's Gate, south of Chestnut Lake Drive. Staff recommends approval, subject to the following conditions. Stormwater management comments, hold harmless agreement regarding the drainage easement be approved by stormwater management. The new proposed home or house to be 2 stories without a basement, and there will be no roof covering or enclosing or closing of the existing deck. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V46? Let the record show there's no one opposed. Variance case V48, Hope Presbyterian Church requests a variance to increase the maximum height of a sign for a non-residential use in a residential zone from 8 feet to 13 feet 10 inches in land lots 244 and 245 of the 16th district. The property is located on the northeast corner of Wiggly Road and Sandy Plains Road. Staff recommends approval, subject to the following conditions. Traffic comments and sign to be moved out of the Cobb County sewer easement area. If the sign cannot be moved, then the Cobb County Water System may consider a hold harmless agreement for the existing sign location. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V48? Let the record show there's no one opposed. Variance case V49, Bethany United Methodist Church requests a variance to reduce the side setback adjacent to the east property line from required 50 feet to 10 feet, which is existing, to reduce the landscape screening buffer abutting a residential property line adjacent to the east property line from required 35 feet to 5 feet, and that is an existing condition, and to waive the requirement for an electronic sign to be placed on an arterial roadway, to allow the proposed electronic sign to be placed on a major collector road in land lot 23 of the 17th district. The property is located at the northeast intersection of Hicks Road and Hurt Road. Staff recommends approval, subject to traffic comments. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V49?
I have a question on our variance.
There's no one opposed, Mr. Chairman, but the applicant does have a question regarding one of the comments.
Monique represents that district. We have spoken earlier today. I think it might be advisable that we hear this case publicly. Is that what
Yeah.
you would like?
Because we'll need DOT to weigh in, so.
We've run into a little bit of a problem with the right-of-way issue, so I think we're going to hear your case publicly. So we'll answer your question when we get back to you, okay? We'll
Okay.
pull that 49 and we'll hear that publicly.
Okay, put out of consent. And finally, variance case V50, North Atlanta Installation LLC, requests a variance to waive the required ground-based monument-style sign to the proposed pylon sign submitted as Exhibit A in land lot 55 of the 20th District. The property is located on the west side of Wade Green Road, north of George Busby Parkway. Staff recommends approval, subject to traffic comments. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V50? Let the record show there's no one opposed, and that completes the consent agenda, Mr. Chairman, board.
Okay, it's back to this board for discussion or comments with the exception of V44 and V49, because we'll hear those cases. Any of my fellow colleagues, any comments or questions or anything? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda with the exception of V44 and V49
Second.
as presented.
Okay, I've got a motion, I've got a second. No other discussion, I'll call for the vote. Okay, we're going to approve everything else on that consent agenda with the exception of 44 and 49. Ladies, and that vote is a 5-0 vote. Ladies and gentlemen, those of you that were on the consent agenda, your business is complete with us for today. You're welcome to stay, but if you leave, please leave quietly and we'll continue on with our business. Thank you and have a nice afternoon.
So make sure people on 44 and 49.
Yeah, I've said it.
They were on the consent.
All right, John, what's our process now? Do we want to go to 118 or we want to continue? What do you want to do?
We're going to go to the held and continued cases.
Okay?
All right, moving into the continued held cases for today, variance case V118 of 2018, Michael L. Acree requested variance to reduce the setbacks for an accessory structure over 650 square feet for an approximately 2,400 square foot garage from required 100 feet to 26 feet adjacent to the south property line and to 51 feet adjacent to the rear property line in land lot 111 of the 20th District. The property is located on the west side of Hill Forest Trail, south of Seville Drive. Is the applicant present? Is the applicant here for V118 of 2018? Is there anyone here opposed to this variance case?
All right, just hold your hands up how we get a head count.
How many more?
Margie, how many? 7.
Oh.
7 in
Let
opposition.
the record show the 7 opposed.
All right, here's our process. At this time, I'm going to ask the clerk if you would make a telephone call, see if we can reach these people. If they
Mr. Chairman, he did send me an email yesterday wanting to continue this case again. However, I denied his request. I told him that he had to be here today for his case to be heard.
Okay. Okay, so we've had comments both ways, and you have told him he needed to be here.
Correct.
With that said, the person that represents that district is Fred. Fred, I'm going to turn it over to you for comments.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I have first of all enjoyed watching through the courtesy of Cobb TV Archives the December hearing that was held, and I watched it in its entirety as to V-118 of 2018. And I note that my predecessor in this position and the chairman of this board laid out a path forward for Mr. Acree to follow to seek a variance. And to the best of my understanding, he has failed to avail himself of that path forward. I also note that, at least in my opinion, that the applicant failed to carry the burden necessary to obtain the variance sought. So my motion would be, at this time, given the fact that it seems to me that this group, before I was on it, bent over backwards to give the applicant a fair opportunity, that what we should do here is deny the application.
I'll second that motion. And then, John, you had a comment?
I did have a comment and more of a question to the folks that are here opposed to it. The folks that oppose this, that raised their hands today, did the applicant try to reach out to you to talk to you about this?
No.
So you're all, no? Okay.
All right, I've got a motion.
And just in furtherance of that, let me just indicate, I did speak to some of the folks who had opposed it, and they also indicated just that they had not heard at all from the applicant in the ensuing 5 months now. Additionally, I would note that the chairman was quite clear, quite explicit in December. He said he would give 2 months in which to accomplish those goals, which included both providing specifics on the siding that would be on the proposed barn, providing elevations for the proposed barn, so detail as to what the barn would look like, and requiring some specifics as to landscaping, and I've not seen any of that. None of that is in the record. So that's my motion, that we deny the application.
And I seconded it.
Okay, I've got a motion and a second. I've got to act on that. Is there any other comments from board members? All right, let's vote on that. All right, that is a 5-0 vote to deny application B-118.
Okay, thank you.
Now, they've got some questions, John. All right, come on up. I'll take one, and I'll take the lady's question too. Come up right behind them. Let's do this very quickly. This is a little out of order, but 7 people have shown up here, and I want to make sure everybody. They have not been sworn. John, do they need to be sworn?
Is it just a question, or you can make a comment?
It's just a question.
It's a question, but I don't know how that would be interpreted.
Okay,
for me
well,
to be sworn
well, let's
All
in.
right,
hear
get her
the question.
sworn in. Go ahead, ask your question.
Because we've already
Okay,
rejected it.
As it backs up to her property, it was brought up last time that there was an equestrian easement there, and that, in our opinion, has been cut down also when they clear cut the lot.
I can't answer that. I don't think we can answer that, John. I mean,
It was asked by someone,
I think Skip Gunther asked that question.
okay, and I believe it was said that he did not. Well, it appears like it has been.
Okay. We'll take that up. You've made the point, and we'll have somebody from the zoning department look at that.
Okay,
But we
thank you.
can't answer that question.
Mr. Chairman, what I would assert is that's a civil issue between the folks who have rights to that easement. It's not a zoning issue. It's an easement for use, so it's really between all the property owners, so it's a civil issue.
There's your answer. It's
Thank
a use issue. All right, young lady, come on. I remember you making a very nice discussion the last time, and I know who your father is. Quickly, tell us what you want.
Thank you. On the back property of Mr. Acree's back property line is my property. And we have drainage issues that he needs to reforest that area. I've got mud piled up over and above the silt fences. So my recourse on that is also civil.
No,
No, on
I-
that one,
fir-
we can send someone out on that one.
First of all, have you complained to code enforcement about that?
I have not.
Okay, that'd be the first issue. But now that you have made a complaint, John has the authority to go back to his people and to have them look into that.
Yeah, we'll have our erosion person go out there and take a look at it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and you 7 people have a nice day. Thank you for coming, and it's been nice seeing you. Thank you. All right, John, let's go to the next one, 129.
Yes, sir. Variance case V 129 of 2018, Hill Road LLC, request a variance to revise the approved entrance signage and landscape plan from V 98 of 2015 to reflect the as-built entrance sign and landscape plan in land lot 119 of the 20th district. The property is located on the southwest corner of Hill Road and Merlot Drive. The applicant is present. Is there anyone here opposed to this variance?
Okay, let's give everybody a quick update. This was also heard in December. Instructions at that time was also given to the applicant and the opposition to come together. You have been in constant meetings, so Mr. Moore represents the builder in this case, the applicant in this case. So, John, Kevin, go ahead and fill us in on what's taking place.
Certainly, we have had those discussions, meetings and so forth, and at least between the applicant for this variance request and Mr. Miller, we have reached an agreement as to the conditions for the variance request, and those were presented in a May 9th stipulation letter, which had attachments for the new landscaping for the front lots, which are known as lots 1 and lots 24 at Thornton Township. This had to deal with entrance signage and entrance landscaping, and so those have been resolved from our standpoint and are reflected in that May 9th, 2019 letter. And so that's the update. And I can certainly present if you would like, but I'm not sure that's necessary given the direction.
At this time, let me turn it over to Fred, who represents that district, and he will take it from there. Mr. Borley?
And counsel, just to clarify here, the house more or less across the street from the entranceway, was that of Mr. Miller, correct? Or is that of Mr. Miller?
That's correct. You can see it on your screen. It's the house from directly across the street from the entrance to Thornton Township, and the cursor's right on it right now.
Okay.
Okay. And my understanding is that both parties are in agreement with the appropriateness of the stipulations that you've prepared in your hand-delivered letter of May 9, 2019, correct?
That's correct.
And that the applicant is further willing to stipulate, we can call this a stipulation number 5, that if a fence is built on lot 24, that it will be required to match that on lot 1. And
That's correct. That is agreeable additional stipulation.
Okay, then finally, also, there's a side agreement pursuant to which Mr. Miller is agreeing, among other things, to waive any potential claims he might have regarding his claim that mud came into his yard, things of that nature, correct?
That is correct.
So there's a side agreement, but that would not be a matter within our jurisdiction. The only matters within our jurisdiction would be points 1 through, conditions 1 through 4 of your letter, and the new condition 5 regarding the fencing, if any is put up.
That's correct.
Okay, and my motion would be that we approve the variance requested based upon the conditions and stipulations just stated.
Got a motion? Do I have?
I'll second.
Got a motion, I got a second. Any other comments from board members? Not hearing any, a call for the vote. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're
Thank
going to
y'all.
approve V129 with a 5-0 vote. Fred?
Yeah, and thank you. I just wanted to thank counsel for his long patience and work on this and getting something done. It's very well appreciated.
Thank you. Yeah.
You bet.
All right, John, where am I?
Variance case V 26, Sam Sakaharu requests a variance to reduce the side setback from required 10 feet from previous variance 131 of 2016 to 4 feet adjacent to the western property line in land lot 158 of the 16th district. The property is located on the south side of Shallowford Industrial Parkway, north of Shallowford Road. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V26? Let the record show there's no one opposed. Would the applicant please come forward to be sworn in?
Just for the record, give us your name, please, first.
My name is Sam Sakawi.
Okay, Sam, Judy, I'm going to turn it over to you now. I don't think we need to hear the whole thing. We've got a resolution, so Ms.
Okay.
Williamson.
You've been working with Tim from.
That is correct.
Okay, and you understand what's got to occur.
Yes, ma'am.
But just for the record, I'm gonna have Tim come up here and he's gonna show us exactly what you have to remove so that there's no question.
Yeah, Tim Davidson, Cobb County Water System.
Can you just put it up there and?
Let's give Tim a micro, oh, you can stand up there.
So it's,
Up there.
Okay?
okay, this is actually the illustration from a hold harmless that we granted back when it was a variance case in
Okay.
2016, 2017. Which at the time, as you can see, there's the sewer easement going down the side of the property. And at the time, there was, the building touched the easement, and there was an existing concrete pad that touched the easement. Since they were inside of our easement setback, we agreed to hold harmless. They subsequently extended the concrete pad and put a building there, which we found unacceptable, but we've met with them and we've agreed that the new building would have to be removed back to where the existing concrete was at this time. So it'd basically be at the edge of the easement, just like the corner of this building is. And we've also agreed to allow the concrete that was extended into the easement to remain. Apparently it's a kind of a wet, marshy area. With the understanding that it's at risk, it would be considered landscaping. If we had to remove it to get access to the sewer line, we wouldn't replace it. But
Okay.
we've agreed to allow it to remain.
All right, thank you, Tim. Sam, you understand those
Yes,
conditions?
ma'am.
Okay.
Yes.
With that, then, I'm going to make a motion that we approve V26, subject to this sewer comments and recommendations.
Okay, I've got a motion. I got a second. Sam, see how easy that was? We did a good job for you. And you did a good
Thank you.
job by working with us, so,
Thank you, really appreciate it,
Thank you,
and
Sam.
we'll comply.
very good. Everybody's happy. Let's all vote on it, yes or no. Here we go. It's a 5-0 vote.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you
Thank you,
very
sir.
much.
Thank you, guys.
And thanks to the water department for working with us, too. All right, Johnny, where am I?
Yes,
Where are
sir.
you?
Variance case V38, Brian Locklear requests a variance to increase the maximum allowable height of a fence from 6 feet to 8 feet adjacent to a public road right-of-way and to the front and side of the house in land lot 72 of the 20th district. The property is located on the west side of Cobb Parkway, the north side of Bridgewater Drive, and on the east side of Bridgewater Lane. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V38?
No opposition.
See no one? Let the record show there's no one opposed. Would the applicant please come forward, be sworn in?
All right, sir, for the purpose of the record, if you would give us your name, please.
Brian Locklear.
Okay, Brian, tell us what you want. What you're asking.
Two parts. It was a fence variance, fence height variance. One for the right-hand side of my property, which is an existing fence,
Okay.
to go to 8 feet. It's about a 31-foot section and an 8-foot section. And then on the left side, I have an existing 6-foot gate that is in compliance that I'd like to bring up to 8 feet. And I can show pictures if you'd like to see
Yeah,
them.
we'd like to see pictures. Tell us why you need that extra 2 feet.
And when I show you that picture, it'll make
Okay.
a little bit more sense.
Sure is.
This picture right here is as you would drive in from the street. This is the fence that I erected behind our neighborhood sign. This area, it starts with 6 feet, and to keep it level, it ends up at about 8 feet in that area right there. Let me give you another view of it from the other side. And this is the view from the opposite side as you're driving out of the neighborhood. So this is all 6-foot fence along this area, and then I step up 8 feet around behind that stand of trees and so forth. It's just to provide some additional protection, screening, so forth from the road, and had a little bit of a slope issue. It drops about 4 feet over that distance, so a little bit difficult to deal with. So that's existing. And on the opposite side, which is just something I desire, is 6-foot fencing, 6-foot gate, and with the way the driveway is dropped down when the home was constructed, I'd like to try to keep that all at the same level, the same height. And I've got a quick sketch of what I've proposed, just so you have an idea of what you would be looking at. So that's a proposal of what I'm looking to do. Just bring it up level so it's all the same height. That's pretty much it.
Anything else you want to tell us?
Yes, I'll walk up to the podium. Last time we met, I was asked by Ms. Williams to meet with the HOA. Unfortunately, our HOA is in turmoil. They've had a lot of turnover. Took me quite a while to find out who the new president is. We don't have an architectural committee chairperson. And so they've just kind of abandoned the whole case.
Anything else?
No, sir.
Okay, is there anybody here in opposition, wishing to speak in opposition to case P38? Hearing and not seeing anybody, it's back to this board for discussion. At this time, Mr. Fred represents your district, so I'm going to turn it over to Fred Bowling.
Oh, thanks, that's close, but I'll take it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The, the drawing that you just put up, can you just put a number on that and we can label it for the record?
I can, and
Okay.
I submitted this with the application as well.
That's, the specific drawing is part of the
Yes, sir.
application?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you for reminding us about that. Okay, so let me just caution you, we're not giving any legal opinions, of course, but you may still have remaining issues with your HOA. You indicated facts previously which would lead to a possible defense of selective prosecution of covenants. That's between you and your HOA, but,
Correct.
right? So we can only deal with things on the county level today, and we're prepared to move forward and do that. Did you have any other comments you wish to make at this time?
No,
before-
sir, I do not.
Okay, so the motion will be for approval of the application as to, do we have a number on this? V38 of 20, it says 2019. Okay, yes, the motion would be to approve that as made,
All right,
as applied.
Could we do it subject? Second. But could we do it subject to that, with the gate?
Certainly,
Absolutely.
he indicates that's part of the application.
you're
That's
gonna-
part of the application, and we can
Okay.
absolutely hold
And
to
that would be subject, John, to that gate that he drew.
Yeah, exactly as drawn.
All right.
Correct.
Thank you.
all right. I've got a motion, I've got a second. Any other comments? Not hearing any. Call for the vote. All right, we approve that, sir, 5-0. Good luck.
Thank you for
very
your
much.
time.
Thank you.
John, I guess we're at V44 now.
Variance case of V44, Remington Atchison requests a variance to allow an accessory structure, which is a dumpster, to be located to the front of the principal building and to reduce the side setback from an accessory structure, which is the dumpster, to require 10 feet to 7 feet adjacent to the eastern property line and land lot 781 of the 19th district. The property is located on the north side of Mimosa Drive, west of Austell Road. The applicant is present. Earlier, there's one person here opposed. All those wishing to address the board, please come forward to be sworn in.
All right, the applicant and the opposition come forward. We'll get you sworn in. Anybody that's going to make a comment? Okay, the applicant, please come forward. You folks in the opposition can have a seat right there, and we'll call you up in a couple of minutes. Sir, if you would, please give us your name.
Remington Atchison.
Okay, if you would, tell us what you want, what you're asking for.
Originally, when we added a second building to the site, we had the dumpster going in the back between the two buildings.
Okay,
And we, well, the contractor moved it to the, is that eastern side?
all right.
Well, picture the right
Yes.
side.
And that little arrow is on there. That's
Yeah.
it right there.
And for a few reasons, one of them was we thought there's some residential properties in the back. So one, I thought it would be better for noise. The residential neighbors wouldn't have to hear a dumpster early in the morning.
Okay,
Two, I thought that it was a little invasive for the dumpster truck to have to travel so far onto the property. So it could be just, might have some, what do you call, just liability of, as far as the dumpster might hit stuff. And we thought that where the dumpster is located would be a reasonable location.
what kind of business is conducted there?
Right now, there's no businesses, but probably automotive related.
So right now, the buildings are vacant, is that correct?
Right, correct.
Okay. All right, anything else you'd like to tell us?
No, that's it.
Okay, all right, if you have a seat, we'll hear from the opposition. All right, first of all, let me get your name, sir.
Harry Valdez.
Valdez.
Yes.
And the gentleman next to you, would you identify yourself, please?
My name is Asiel Salas.
Salas?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Valdez, tell us what you want to tell us.
Yes, the location is probably the best, but can we put an hour to where they could empty it? Schedule, so it won't be like 4 o'clock in the morning or, 5 o'clock. We got families, I live right directly behind them. In that area is 1373 Amy Lane. And we've had an erosion problem. I know y'all don't handle that right now, but awful. And I've had the erosion people there twice already. I've got pictures and I got video. It's the pool on this side that just, as soon as it starts raining, it drains out and it comes right between our house, right where the fence is. And
Mr. AV guy, could you pull that out a little bit, how we get a little better picture of the back part? Can we get the houses in the back?
see,
Wait a minute, he'll get it up there. This man's a genius. He is wonderful. Show us, which house is yours?
okay, my house is that one, yes.
Where the hand is, yeah.
Right.
Okay.
And then his house is this one on this side.
right
And see
there.
where that
That's his
pipe
house?
is right there?
Wait a
It
minute,
goes,
let's go back. Where's his house? That's his house right there, is that
Yes.
correct? Okay, now tell us.
okay, the water, see where the water drainage is? It flows straight down between our houses.
Okay.
And we have a fence and he just put up, well, I'll let him talk, but I got picture of water running into his yard, hitting the wall he's got there,
Okay.
coming back down and going between our house. And I've had the erosion people there twice already.
Okay.
They said there's nothing we can do, but I guess take them to court. But they saw the soot and everything that went down there. So I know that right now the dumpster, as long as we could put a time limit of when they could have that emptied, the sec is okay where it's at. But I wish we could do something about this drainage.
Okay, well,
I'll
right
wait-
now, all we're here to decide is on the dumpster.
Yeah,
That's-
yeah.
But I'm glad you brought the other point up.
Okay.
Okay, sir, Mr. Solis, tell us what you want to tell us.
Well, with me, I'm okay with the dumpster where it's located right now.
Okay,
And just like he said, if we have like a time curfew, because of course I got a newborn and everything, not too early morning be great. Anytime, during the day. And as far as the drainage, I'm in the same thought that he got, because we definitely have all that water going through my driveway, because once it finishes raining, it can go for hours, or something to the next day, you can still see water coming through, and, we got a little bit of mess.
Anything else you'd like to tell us?
That should be it. Thank you very much.
Okay, for the purpose of the record, is there anybody else here wishing to speak in opposition to case V44? Hearing and not seeing anybody, it's back to this board for discussion. Ms. Monique Sheffield represents the district, so I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Sheffield.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming down. If Mr. Atchison would come back to
You
the
guys
mic,
just have a
please.
seat right there.
I want to follow up with you on the hours of operation, because it appears that one of the main issues is obviously when the truck is going to come on the property. The other issue, I don't think, is before us
Right.
with the erosion.
If-
But can you
sorry.
tell us what your hours of operation will be?
Well, I'm not a very early riser. I don't think that necessarily has to do with the dumpster, but as far as the dumpster, I mean, I certainly have no issues with telling whatever trash service that we use to specify and tell them that they can only pick up the trash during certain hours.
Okay, but at this point, you have no idea what your hours will be?
I mean, it'd probably be somewhere around 9 to 6-ish.
So,
Okay, 9 to 6. So John, let me ask, is there a zoning law that exists in terms of hours of pickup for trash?
Commissioner Sheffield, there's not anything in the zoning ordinance regarding the hours. However, Cobb County does have a noise ordinance that prohibits the dumpster
Right.
trucks from coming between 11 PM to 7 AM.
Right,
So they can't come anyway.
right.
And where we do get complaints of trucks dumping early, we usually send a code enforcement officer out there and have them wait by the dumpster and issue a citation. So they cannot dump it any earlier than 7 AM.
Okay, okay. Yeah, we can
Yeah.
put, yeah.
well, let's,
Yeah, come back up.
Something else, when they started building, we found out that it was gonna be a garage. But garage has a lot of noise. All your power tools, everything they use. And I think we need to have a wall or a fence, some kind of something to kind of stop that, daily sounds of, that comes from a garage.
Sure, sure.
Because it's not that far from the back of our house.
Right. Well, thank you for your comment, but what's before us today is the location of the dump truck, so that's what we're going to deal with today, but I do thank you for your comment. Well, considering that,
I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but may I make a comment just to the neighbors?
Sure.
Regarding the erosion? I just want to say to both of you that this is the first time that I'm hearing about the erosion issue, and your concerns would be our concerns as well. The grading and the, I forget what you call that, the water thing,
Well,
but, yeah.
let me interrupt. You guys can talk about
Oh.
that offline, because that's really not before us, so I don't want to take
Okay,
up any
okay.
additional time. So considering that the hours of pickup for trash or the noise ordinance in Cobb County is from 11 to 7, would you agree to have your business at least a start time operation at 8 o'clock, or have the dump truck pick up after 8 AM?
Sure, yeah, that's no problem.
8 to 6.
Okay, 8 to 6.
Okay.
For the dump truck pickup?
Sure.
Okay, that'd be fine. Yeah, so John, if we can add that in as a stipulation, that would be fine. Okay, sorry. Okay. Sorry. I make a motion that we approve V44 with the following stipulation, that the dump truck will pick up trash between the hours of 9 AM to 6 PM.
9 or 8, I think 8 o'clock. Did you say 8 o'clock?
No, we set from 9 AM. Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you for that. From 8 AM to 6. Thank you, guys.
Okay, I've got a motion. Judy, I got a second. Any other comments? Call for the vote. Don't leave. Okay, we're going to approve that 5-0. You brought up the erosion problem. We are not here. We can't do anything to help either, any of you out. But Dave Braden is right there. Dave, would you please stand up? If you folks would see Dave before you leave, he's in charge of erosion control. At least you'll put a face with a name and he'll see what he can do to help you. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you.
John, where am I?
V
One more,
49. Variance case of V 49, Bethany
Yeah.
United Methodist Church, request a variance to reduce the side setback adjacent to the east property line, required 50 feet to 10 feet, which is existing, to reduce the landscape screening buffer abutting a residential property line adjacent to the east property line, required 35 feet to 5 feet, which is existing, and to waive the requirement for an electronic sign to be placed on an arterial roadway, to allow the proposed electronic sign to be placed on a major collector road in land lot 23 of the 17th District. The property is located at the northeast intersection of Hicks Road and Hurt Road. The applicant is present. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V 49? Not seeing any. Would the applicant come forward to be sworn in?
Please give
Ronald
us your name.
Ronald Johns, I'm trustee chair of Bethany United Methodist Church.
Ronald Johns? is that you?
Johns, Johns.
Yeah, okay. Tell us what you want, Mr. Johns.
Okay, the reason I had a question or I have a suggestion, and I wrote it down. Bethany United Methodist Church is willing to sign an agreement with the zoning board and Cobb County wherein at such time the Cobb County Department of Transportation needs to use the right-of-way land in front of our church for a turn lane or lane expansion. The church will move the sign at that time at our expense to accommodate the right-of-way. So what we're asking is, can we delay by document the delay of moving the sign until the Department of Transportation comes up with a plan to do something with the property? They bought the right-of-way about 6 years ago. There, as far as we know, there's no plan, so that's why we're asking for that.
All right, you've got a great question. I'm going to get ready to turn it over to Miss Monique Sheffield. I do think at this time we probably ought to bring up,
Yeah, Ashley, we'll have Ashley to come
get
up.
Ashley up there too. Because it's not a I don't think I don't think we can answer that question. I think the DOT has got to have.
Right,
a
so we'll
comment there.
rely on
So this
on
is-
Ashley's input.
Ashley White with the Department of Transportation. We don't have any projects in the works right now, but another issue we look at is whether or not any fixed object is in the clear zone. So if a vehicle goes off-road, we want to make sure, we don't want any fixed objects that could, be an issue there. So I would like to take a better look at it and see if it's in that clear zone. I know I have a site plan that shows it's 19 and a half feet from the back of curb. So if I can have additional time to speak with traffic ops, make sure they don't see a safety concern there, make sure it's out of the clear zone, I would be more comfortable to put it off, put the
That's
sign
fine.
relocation off to a later date.
That's fine. I don't have an issue with that. What about you guys?
How about the church guy? John, what we're talking about is to hold this case for 30 days, to give the DOT proper opportunity to look at all the right-of-way and everything else to make a decision.
Okay.
Are you okay with that?
I'm okay with that, but I do want to say that this church sign has been there since the 70s. It is up on a hill, and there has never been an accident or an incident at that location, as far as I know.
Right.
Again, it's up a hill too, which is helpful.
Right. And she'll see that once she goes out there, and they'll make a further recommendation once she
Okay.
has an opportunity to see it.
Okay.
So we'll hold it for 30 days?
Yeah, before you do that, let me, as an interested citizen of Cobb County who's lived in that area and knows that church has been there for a long time. They've been a good Cobb County citizen. So Ashley, what I'm saying is, if there's any way that you could work with them, I, as a private citizen, would appreciate that, because they've worked with us in the past. And the fire station's right across the street. They got the other church there.
Another church, yeah.
So it's a pretty busy intersection, but they've always cooperated with us.
Okay,
That's
will
just
do.
way of a comment. Now we'll take a motion.
I'll make a motion that we hold the case for an additional 30 days.
All right, got a motion, a second. Let's call for the vote. And we are going to comply with that, Fred. Hit me, Fred.
Oh, I'm sorry.
There you go. Okay, we're going to comply with that. And Mr. Johns, we'll see you back here in 30 days, and you and Ashley become the best of friends in that 30-day period. John, where am I? That completes our agenda for today.
The way Murphy's Law works,
A little longer than I thought.
Murphy's Law, somebody will run into it this weekend.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we've got to take care of a little cleaning house cleaning. We've got to approve the minutes from May the 13th. I'll hear a motion on that. Okay, motion. Judy, second?
Second.
Okay, that's the only one I have. I see some pink stuff up there. Is that all I have, is just the one? Okay? All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's it. And that completes our business for today. Thank you very much. We'll see you
They
next
do
month.
both of them? There's two, I think. There's one for the April 10th
Is
and
that
one for the
so-
May 13th. So those are the two that we have to
See May
approve.
13th, can I see April?
Is your planning commission, Judy, is that what you're looking at? Planning?
No, variance. We had two that we had to approve.
So what's the other one?
We have a May 13th and then this one.
All right, we approved May 13th. What's the other one?
And the other one is May the 10th, isn't it May the 10th? April the 10th, I'm sorry, April the 10th.
Okay, all right, well, let's entertain a motion for April the 10th. Judy?
I make the motion we approve April the 10th.
Okay, I've got a motion. Do I have a second? Second. All in favor, please vote. Okay, don't go wild before we get off TV. Let's all stay together. Don't come by. All right, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, that completes our business for today. Cornelius, I'll see you next month. Thank you.